Hey, it's Jody Taylor of snackysays.com. Welcome back to my podcast. Today's going to be a short and sweet one for you. It's a challenge. So if you're listening to this podcast, then you like podcasts. You like listening to folks talk about something that you're interested in, or maybe you want to learn more about, you're curious about. And so my challenge to you is start a podcast. You too have interesting things to say, fun and exciting things that people want to hear about or learn about, something that is unique to you. You know, like if you started a podcast and you were talking about fitness and mindset and eating, that's what I talk about, but we're two different people, right? So our journeys are going to be different. Our stories are going to be different. You can go on any podcasting platform, and even if things are broken out into genres, there's like so many different stories. So that's my challenge to you. I hope that you'll take it up. If you do, email me at Jody, Joddie, at snackysays.com with your podcast link, the name of your podcast, and I will check it out and leave you a review. This isn't like a tit for tat. I'm not like, leave me a review and hit me up. I just want you to feel encouraged. If you're looking for a sign to use your voice, this is it. I started podcasting, I would have said even a week ago, like the reason why I podcast is I'm like finding my voice. That's not true. I don't have to find my voice. I have my voice. I just needed an outlet to use it consistently. Pick a frequency that works for you. Some folks, and again, you can go on any podcast platform and kind of bounce around and like just look at when people post their episodes. Some people post episodes when they feel like it. Some people do seasons, so they'll do like 10 episodes and then take a break for a few months and then another 10 episodes, for example. And I'm making that number up. Right now, I am posting every Sunday or Monday, and I have been doing that for the last few months, and I don't always use fresh content. Like I'm recording this now and I already have some episodes scheduled, so this will probably go out maybe 2 to 4 weeks from the time that I'm recording it. It just totally depends. I have things that I recorded years ago or wrote years ago that I've used with this podcast in the last few months. So besides an interview I did with my mom on my blog, I don't have currently another episode with someone else. So there's like a million ways to skin a cat. Choose one. In terms of the length of the podcast episode, I used to kind of had this thing in my head that I wanted it to be short. And you'll even to this day hear me say like, oh, it'll be short and sweet. This very episode, I started saying it'll be short and sweet, and it could turn into a 20-minute episode. So the rules are, there are no rules. That being said, I have listened to podcasters where the episodes are never more than 5 minutes, ever. I've listened to podcasts where they always seem to be over an hour, each and every episode. Some people put out daily, some people weekly, some people monthly, like I was saying. Some people do, there was a podcast I listened to, I'm blanking on her name right now for some reason, but she had 5 Tip Friday. If you Google 5 Tip Friday, I'm sure you'll find her. So her podcast episodes are usually on the longer side. Like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, I think. But on Fridays, it's 5 tips, and they're usually just a few minutes long. Then another thought is batch recording. Sometimes I sit down or I'm walking and I record 2 or 3 episodes in a day. And the other thing in terms of equipment and location, I use my phone, and that is it. I record, like right now I'm recording on my phone's recording app. It literally says recorder. Sometimes I record directly onto Anchor FM. My podcast is available on most platforms, including Apple and Spotify, but the home base, I guess, would be Anchor. So my studio is usually the great outdoors, or as I jokingly said the other day, the great neighborhood. I'm walking around and I'll just, getting my steps in, and I'll record an episode. Sometimes I do it with like next to the window or next to open door. So you'll hear like birds squawking. Why am I talking about this? If you have littles, if you are in the midst of elder care and there's like background noise, don't worry about that. Like right now, the heat just came on, or maybe that's air conditioning, and like while I was recording. So I'm not sure, but it may change the sound. And if what I'm saying sounds familiar, it's because I'm still in that hotel that I recorded another episode in, and the same thing happened. The point being, put your voice out there. It doesn't have to be slick and polished. Even if you want that, put your voice out there, learn the editing skills. The more you do, you'll get better equipment. If you want that, you can like do the pillow fort, so you can like have better sound. I don't do any of that right now. I have things on my head and my heart that I want to share. And again, I'm a thinker, and I've found it so far pretty easy. I don't force anything. If I can't think of a topic, then I will use something that I already have, and you do too. Go into your Google Docs, go into your WhatsApp and your text exchanges, go into your emails, think about a conversation you had with your bestie, your siblings, your mom, your dad, where you were really passionate about something or you had a strong opinion. There is your podcast. Like I literally will just be thinking about something, some situation, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hit record. A lot of what I'm talking about are things I think you'll find naturally your own way if you were to just start this and you never listen to it. But if not, I hope this helps you in some way. And so I don't know if I've spoken about this before. Maybe I have, but how I started was a podcast is something I've been thinking about for a long time. And fun fact, my newsletter used to be an audio newsletter. So it was something that I was kind of doing already for Snacky Says subscribers, but this is a bit different in that it's not just for subscribers, but for everyone in all different types of topics. Like I really... I would do an audio newsletter, but then I found I had other things to talk about. So I started a spinoff called Totally Unrelated. This podcast is basically totally unrelated from my from my newsletter, where I get to talk about everything. And my newsletter has evolved since then too. It's now just in written form, but I may bring the audio piece back at some point. Anyway. Michelle Rohr, who leads Planet Girl Insiders, which is one of the online memberships of hers. I've bought everything that her and Amy Johanan have put out. Michelle is doing this project solo, Planet Girl Insiders. She mentioned podcasting at one of her masterminds, and basically throughout this challenge that I'm throwing out to you, which is like, hey, you can start a podcast. It's pretty easy. It is. There are apps. It's just point, click, click. Like with Anchor FM, you literally register. It's really intuitive and user-friendly to record episodes, to add episodes. And if you want to do a bit of editing and add music, there's like tons of options. Graphics, you can use Canva to create graphics for your podcast if you want. I hope I'm not making it sound like there's a lot to do. She mentioned this. She had a mastermind on it, and now she has I think it's called Piece of Cake Podcasting. It's on my to-do list for this month to go ahead and watch it, even though I already have podcasting. I learned a lot from her mastermind lesson. And it did influence me to just go ahead and pull the trigger, so to speak, and start a podcast, because I did it within days of that call that she had. And it's funny because I never mentioned it to her. But yeah, like since then I started the podcast. So anyway, this is your sign. Oh, and I'll put the link for Michelle's course, Piece of Cake Podcasting. If you're a Planet Girl Insider, and you may be, it's already included in your purchase of Plan a Girl Insider, so it's not an additional purchase. So if you decide to become a Plan a Girl Insider, and it's basically like a virtual meeting group membership for digital creators, what she calls planner girls who are creating like digital planners, maybe even physical planners, digital notebooks, are working as like virtual assistants, basically like digital and virtual creators and entrepreneurs. It's definitely worth checking out. I'll put the links. But what I really want you to get from this is use your voice. We want to hear your thoughts. And even if it's not a podcast for you, it might be YouTube videos. Right around the same time, the following things happened with me. What did I tell you? Short and sweet. I'm already over 10 minutes. So I put out my first podcast and I do them weekly. This all happened really in short order. I started YouTubing. YouTubing, is that a word or verb? So I put out daily YouTube shorts and they're literally 15 seconds and it's usually what I'm eating or doing. And I have my newsletter, which is monthly. I have a website, snackysays.com. I'm not super active on my website, but what I have posted has built up over the years, and I've been able to use it as a resource for podcast episodes and even sometimes in my newsletter. So energy is never wasted, as Michelle and Amy always say, energy is never wasted. Michelle Rohr and Amy Yohanan, again, I mentioned Michelle earlier, that they have another series of group membership and courses and services. I'll put the link in the show notes. But just get started. You know, I've built these things over the years very, very slowly. But now I can look back and say, okay, even though I wasn't prolific, I think that's the word I'm looking for, I still have a body of work that I can reference, that I can build on, and that I can be consistent with and continue to evolve. So I said it would be short and sweet. Hopefully your definition of short and sweet is like less than 15 minutes. I hope this was helpful. Please email me at Jody. That's Joddie, Jody at snackysays.com. If you decide to launch a podcast or a newsletter or anything, if you have like a YouTube channel, please hit me up with your information. I will check out your site, your podcast, your newsletter. I love to come across new content creators, new to me content creators. And let me know what your experience is like once you get started. Thanks for listening. This is Jody Taylor of snackysays.com.